Tuning into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, After Buzzers. How is everyone doing? This is Nando Velasquez. Welcome to another episode of the following After Show here on AfterBuzz. And as you can see, it's season 3. You can see I'm by myself at this moment. You can see me on camera by myself. My previous co-hosts from seasons 1 and 2, Joe Braswell, Joe Sanfilippo, and Joe Carroll, are not following the following this season.
Boo.
I know, and I decided to jump on just to keep a little. I don't know. I just love the campiness of this whole thing. I don't know what it is. But I am joined by 2 new people so far for season 3. And let me start off by looking at Mr. Sean Overman.
What's up, Nando? Yes, I am Sean Overman. You can find me at Sean Austino on Twitter and Instagram.
And then following him is the lovely Pegah Rad.
Hi, I'm at Pegah Rad, Twitter and Instagram.
And you can find me at Nandovel, Nandovel. And we have a hashtag. We have a new set. I don't know if any of you people who haven't been watching any of the other AfterBuzz shows that we do like 97 of them. We have a brand new set. We got like fancy new graphics. If you look behind me, you see the following after show, kind of creepy little twirly thing. That's brand new. New hosts alongside with me, and new season. And let's talk about this new season. So Fox has been promoting the hell out of this. I've been seeing it on billboards all over LA and advertisements, and finally we got to see episode 1, New Blood. What are you guys' impressions of it so far?
I mean, it's typical following formula, you know? There's a scene and you know that something's gonna happen and you don't know who the scary person is, and then something happens, and so it's very just kind of familiar.
It does feel like that for me too, Pegah. And you know what's even worse about it feeling familiar is that all these tableaus are from scenes from last season. How awful is that? All like the major deaths. So they're really, I feel like, as much as I love the following, I love Kevin Bacon, Shawn Ashmore, great actors. This is a great show. I just love the dynamics that a lot of the characters have. And Joe Carroll, James Purfoy. The writers aren't getting creative. They're using references from last season.
Well, look at you. Shots fired. Oh my God. You're trying to take the Joe Braswell job here. Look, I agree with you guys. There's definitely a lot of familiarity in here. I mean, I feel like every season is always a trio, and it's always one girl and 2 guys, and we have that here. And not that season 2 started exactly 1 year later, but the events unfolded on the anniversary of Joe Carroll's death. Right. This is happening very close to his execution now, and it's exactly 1 year later. There are some things that seem to go, okay, I get it. The whole 1 year later thing also gives time to set other players up, other possible followers up, because we saw that happen a little bit last season. And yeah, I mean, the tableaus I get a little bit. It kind of is, it kind of is nice to bring, in that sense, some familiarity from last season. So I don't have as much of a problem with that.
I'm hoping that it starts off in a familiar place, but then it goes somewhere completely crazy and different, like way from left field.
I will say this. I came into season 2, I think, a lot more like high energy. Full disclosure, I was kind of in a bad mood when I saw this yesterday, so I was kind of like trying to shake that off a little bit. And I rewatched it, and it grew on me some more. But I think part of it was my own mood, so I don't want to be overly critical when I'm like going through like this bad mood thing. But oh man, because that happens sometimes. But I will say I had a lot more high energy at the beginning of last season.
Yeah.
And then the whole cult thing, the whole Corbin cult thing, and some other stuff just started to drag me and my co-host down a little bit.
For me, I was excited last year because I knew Joe Carroll would be in it a lot. This season, I don't see him really having such a big role, so I'm not as excited.
Well, what's really interesting about the advertising for the following, from what I've noticed, is they didn't show anybody but Kevin Bacon, his character. That's all they've really shown on this. So I feel like there'll be a lot of surprises. Like last season when Claire showed up, I mean, there was a big conversation between, there was a big argument between me and my co-host about whether she was really dead or not. And then Natalie Zay showed up and it was like, oh my God. So I think there are going to be some surprises. I think they purposely kept it. First of all, Kevin Bacon's obviously the biggest name there.
Sure.
Nothing against any of the other characters there. I mean, you know, obviously we love James Purefoy, but it'd be weird to see him on a billboard when he got captured. And I think some people...
He is a killer.
He is a killer. And I think some of us were even like, oh my God, just get somebody new over it. Because really, his character was so great in season 1 and it was lacking a little bit in season 2 at points. So, and then of course, Shawn Ashmore is amazing. He's great. But again, I think they just wanted to concentrate on Kevin Bacon. And then we get to see who these characters are, the old and the new. But that's my take on it. I still feel like we're gonna get. We'll get into this in a minute, but I feel like there are gonna be some good twists and turns, especially after seeing, no spoilers at all, but after seeing scenes from the upcoming season that they showed at the end. I think there was some interesting little tidbits. Of course, we don't see James Purefoy, we don't see Natalie Z. But you never know.
I want Joe. I feel like he is such an integral part of the show. Like, I don't know.
We need Joe Carroll in here. He livens the mood for me.
And
like even that he's a killer, he's just so maniacal.
Yes.
I need that.
And the whole thing with him and Ryan is just so strong, that chemistry with them.
Yeah.
It's like, I want him.
It's seriously like Xavier and Magneto, right? He's even in prison now.
Yeah.
A little bit like that. Yeah, I suppose so. But let's talk a little bit about, for those people who have not refreshed themselves on the following or didn't see perhaps the end of season 2 at all, at least not since last year. Let's look at the characters that we remember from season 2 and season 1, some of them, and let's see. We started off a year later, and we get to see a little bit of everybody. So I mean, the scene is set at a wedding. And it ends up being a wedding for Gina Mendez, who's in charge of the FBI unit that was, following Joe Carroll last season.
Agent Mendez, whose former girlfriend in season 2 was a follower of Joe Carroll's.
Was like somebody in Joe Carroll's pocket that was using Mendez's access codes to get the scoop on the FBI and everything. So, and she killed herself. Yes. In a showdown with Weston and Hardy. So we see her get remarried, so that was pretty. I have to admit, whenever I see people wearing white in a show like this, I'm like, yeah, they're wearing white for a reason because they're going to get all messy at some point. So
you think so?
Yeah, I
don't think that at all. But you were right.
It's a cliche, but it works. Yeah.
What did he throw on? Was it like fake blood, real blood, wine?
I'm guessing it was probably animal blood. Maybe if it was probably human blood, I think maybe they would have arrested him. But I guess it was either. Yeah. It looked like blood for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like animal blood.
How sad at her wedding. On her wedding dress. Ugh, the nerve.
But him doing the whole crying thing, it threw me off the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay, and I was like really with the characters there. Yeah. And I really felt like at first the guy looked really predatory, right? He was like stalking Gwen, cornering her, and then he let her go, and then he does that thing. So this guy, Andrew, he's just a messed up guy too.
We'll talk about Andrew. Let's talk about the characters we know of first of all. See where they are.
Sorry about that.
No worries at all. So we're at Gina's wedding and we see Ryan, and actually you mentioned Gwen. So Ryan has a love interest, a new love interest, and she seems pretty nice. It was a little nice surprise, a nice little twist seeing him try and pick her up and her kind of shut her down.
I don't trust her yet. I don't trust her quite yet.
Well, again, that's the magic of doing this a year later.
Yeah.
So, because we don't know, like, what pieces have been in play.
Yeah.
Because it always feels like it's part of my master plan. I will wait till Joe Carroll's about to be executed, or the anniversary, or this certain day, and then everything will come into place.
Yeah. So I have a close watch on her.
Yeah. So, and according to later on in the episode, we hear that they've been together for about 6 months now.
And
so
she wants to move in, and he's like, I don't know.
My
and,
lease is up.
Yeah.
and she
Nice.
works in an ER, either as a doctor or a nurse, which could provide useful if she is in a scene where there's a lot of victims, a lot of fatalities that she can try and rescue, or it could also mean she's really comfortable around dead people and blood.
And she has access to drugs, maybe
just-
syringes, things to go after Ryan Hardy with.
Access, exactly.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I don't trust her. I'm gonna call it out. But anyway.
But we also see Weston. He comes to the wedding too. He's
Yes.
back.
He's back. He's been chasing Mark because Mark is the only survivor really out of all the major, well, besides Joe Carroll, who's in prison.
From the Gray family.
Yeah, he's the only one from the Gray family that's still alive. So, but anyway, so Weston has been hunting down like this whole time, and we saw, the following was doing a lot of flashbacks back in season 1. They did a couple this season, only a couple this episode, only 2, but one of them was showing him leaving to go after Mark, and Max is trying to stop him.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He's committed. We saw Weston kind of go over the edge. He's the one who'll kill Lily Gray. He kind of has a little bit of a psychotic streak. After all, the Gray family did kill his father. So he is out for revenge.
He's out for blood.
Out for blood. So we definitely see him going out there doing that. And when he comes into a wedding, also it kind of affects him because he sees Max with somebody else.
Yeah, she's
Tom.
moved on.
I know, and it's funny because we just saw they kissed at the season finale. They finally
Yeah.
showed their love for each other.
So it's like, how serious did they really get? What tore them apart? Was it because he wanted to go and leave and find Mark? I don't know. I want more on that relationship.
It was too easy of a breakup,
Yeah.
right? He's just,
And
but
he's not over it. You can clearly tell. He's just like, oh no, there's a new guy.
she's not over it either.
Yeah,
She's just with this
you
new
can tell.
guy, Tom.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she likes him, but he's really just a place filler.
Well,
Rebound.
yeah. And we have to see. I can't remember if they said anything about Tom, if he was a doctor as
They said
well or
he was
something, right?
He's with the FBI. He's
Oh, no.
HRT, Hostage Rescue Team.
That's right. He's with the FBI HRT.
And it also reveals that Max is now with the FBI as well.
said-
yes,
Us,
she
yeah.
finally got in the FBI because that's what she wanted to be.
Yeah.
Last season, she was working NYPD, helping out Ryan, but her dream was to be FBI. So she got to be in the FBI without any of Weston's help. Weston was gone, didn't know any of this, and Tom is a new character too. And yeah, just because he works in the FBI doesn't really mean he can't be. I'm just throwing it out there. Doesn't mean
Everybody's suspect. For me.
everybody can be
Yeah.
a suspect.
I
so
forget about that. That's one of the things I do love about this show is that you never really know who's the good guys and who's the bad guys.
Well, we haven't really seen. I don't think we've really officially seen an FBI agent be a follower at all yet. I mean, I kept teasing throughout the first 2 seasons that Weston would be a follower. Although right now I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna do that this season. I mean, after 2 seasons, if he becomes a follower, I will. Oh God,
There's no way.
no way. There's no way. So Braswell, Flippo, if you're listening, I finally gave up.
Wait, what if he does? Let's just say he does do it because he's trying to get some info out of Joe Carroll.
No, he's not doing
so
it.
that he can get Mark.
No. You
No.
know
Not
what?
my Mike.
I got a semi-win on the blacklist. There was a character named Weston who ended up being in a cult and ended up being I can't remember what, but we all the whole gang cheered when I finally got to be right about Weston being a follower. But it was a different show. Because it was in a cult. Anyway, so where were we? So we pretty much went down Gina, Ryan, Max, and Max and Mike Weston, and then also Special Agent Jeffrey Clark. We see him at the wedding too. He was a minor character. I'd say he was somewhat minor character.
He was doing
in
the
season 2.
tie whip on the dance floor.
Yes. You know what? I gotta say the dance scene in that wedding. Oh my God. White people dance funny. That's all I gotta say. They're like, we're all drunk at a wedding and we're doing the twist or whatever it was. They were doing something. They were biting their lip. Doing
man.
really massive white people dancing. It was kind of funny. That saying dance white like no one is watching. They
Yeah.
were really dancing like no one is watching. But unfortunately, we were watching. So, okay, great. So we pretty much went down the gist of the main characters on the good guy side that we know of so far. So let's start talking about the new characters that we have here before we get into Mark. So we have Andrew, who we saw at the wedding. Kind of creepy. He was creeping up on Gwen, as you said. And
much shorter than her, too.
Much shorter. He's a short guy. And you know what's funny, too? He kind of looks a little bit like Agent Clark a little bit, too. He's kind of got the same structure.
I got them confused a little bit at the wedding. I'm like, wait, is that the same guy for a second?
He's got a Hispanic look to him.
They both do. They both do.
Well, Clark, I think Clark is, his name isn't Hispanic, but he's clearly a Hispanic.
Yeah, well, that's Felix Solis. That's the actor who plays Jeffrey Clark. So yeah, he's Latin at least in real life. So, and
the family too that we get to meet later on, the Millers. They're
Sherry's parents.
Yeah, Sherry's parents, who he was claiming to be the father of.
Yeah,
Andrew. Yeah, they looked Hispanic too, but their name's like the Millers. So
I guess that's true.
It's kind of funny.
Okay, well,
it's not very fitting.
Point being made. Well, I'm Latin and I kind of look white, so I don't know. It works out either way. Anyway, so so Andrew throwing that blood out and this big act about you
killed my daughter.
Yeah,
Corbin compound.
And we see that he has a really good knack for crying throughout the episode.
Oscar goes to Andrew.
Yeah, and we also discover that that he is the mysterious person at the end of season 2 who rescued Mark when Mark was carrying his dead brother's body and said, "You're the only one I can call." Yeah, that was the second flashback at the end.
Got it. Sorry.
At the end, after he was in custody, Ryan was asking him, like, how do you know Mark or whatever, and they just showed that quick flashback.
Yeah, that was like a 3-second flashback. It was so fast.
It was super quick.
He was just walking, and boom, he's in the black SUV, and Andrew's the driver.
I'm just glad they don't have crazy ass flashbacks. It's just like, all right, let's explain it in a quick flashback. All right, and we're back. So that's it. We don't need the whole thing. Although it's so funny because I think if I remember correctly, I didn't like re-listen last season's podcast. I think we were all like, "Who's in that van? Who could it be driving the truck? Could it be someone we know? What the hell?" And it's this new character. It's like, okay, it's just this new guy. I guess it was just the scene was just meant to say, okay, there's still more followers or more people out there willing to help people like Mark and Joe out there.
They probably reshot that scene.
It's possible.
Possible.
Yeah.
Sometimes what writers will do is they will set these little threads just to use little cliffhangers, but they haven't even started writing the next season yet. So then by the time they're like, okay, well, what about this? And they're just like, we don't need to solve that. We'll just put somebody new in there. Yeah. So they leave certain things open-ended. That's why a lot of times at the end of the season, like people's like lives are in danger or whatever, and we never know they could disappear because it's all contract negotiations or whatever. With the exception of the leads, obviously.
Yeah.
But every now and then you'll see someone like life's in the balance. And who knows? Wait till September. Wait till a new season to see if they tune in. Anyway, okay, so that's Andrew. Let's just go over the characters really quick because Andrew was kind of part of a trio, as we noticed. Mm-hmm. Another trio.
With Natalie and Kenny.
Well, no, Natalie and Kenny were the couple that were soliciting the prostitute.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
they were
correct.
the couple, Natalie and Kenny. They were the ones celebrating the 2-year anniversary, and they picked up the prostitute and brought her, or she brought them up to a hotel room. And what seemed really interesting was cool because Kenny in particular seemed really creepy. Natalie a little creepy. Natalie was really cute, but Kenny seemed super creepy. And the girl they were picking up, the prostitute, looked really hot. But it ended up being a turnaround where it was the prostitute that was the killer.
Yeah.
Don't pick up strange prostitutes.
Are you going to pick up familiar prostitutes? Is that what you're saying, Sean?
No, but I actually really liked the dynamic in the scene because you didn't know
who was going to be...
who the killer was.
I thought that was a good twist.
And I felt like, okay, it was probably the people soliciting because they want a victim. They want someone to use. Mm-hmm. So they, who's going to suspect this nice couple, this nice young two-year anniversary couple, right?
Even like when we were watching, I'm like, he's going to kill her. And like, wait, he died.
They didn't even look like a couple necessarily. They just looked like two random people together saying, all right, who's our victim going to be? Let's just kill a prostitute. I mean, that's another kind of cliche on other shows and stuff like that. True Detective had that. People killing prostitutes because they thought, usually because they just assume
who's going to miss them.
They're not going to be missed or cops aren't going to follow them as much because they're already criminals in a way. Or considered criminals. But
Daisy and Kyle, they're the killers.
Daisy and Kyle are the killers. And it sounds like when Kyle walked in, that he said, "Who are we now?" So it looks like they might be taking their identities in some form.
They assimilate.
So they might
their
turn
identities.
into Natalie and Kenny.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's
I
what you
see
meant.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Because that was the intro when they first met each other. He goes,
He's like, "What's my name now?"
What's my
Yeah.
name now? But their real names are Daisy and
Okay.
Kyle, and they're from Ohio, and they're very much in love, it looks like. And I gotta admit, after we lost Emma, who I had a big crush on Emma Valerie
Did
Curry.
you?
I did. Sorry, a couple of us on the panel did.
I liked her too. She was cute.
Yeah.
Really?
Sorry, Pegah.
Wow, she annoyed me
What?
big time.
She annoyed me more in season 1, but in season 2, I liked her.
No, I think season 2 we were getting. I think it was the opposite for us. I think we were getting annoyed with her in season 2 just because she wasn't as again. Her and Joe Carroll weren't as powerful as they were in season 1.
Yeah,
They were a lot
I
more.
liked her in 1 a little, but
Yeah.
season 2, I was just like, when is she gonna die?
Season 2, she was a little more lost and
Yeah.
everything.
She finally did die.
Yeah, Claire killed her. But anyway, yeah. After losing her, I'm kind of glad to see a new, really cute follower. I think Daisy is really hot, and actually, I'm gonna do a shout out because for her, the character, for the actress, actually, Ruth Kearney. Who some people might know, she's in a sci-fi show. She was in a sci-fi show called Primeval, which I've heard really good things about. I have not personally seen it.
Is that one with dinosaurs?
Yes, that's the one with dinosaurs. Yeah. So I don't know exactly what character she plays, but there's a photo of her on IMDb, and she looks as a brunette in there, and she looks really hot in that too. And I'm like, why haven't I not seen more of this girl? She's really cute. Anyway, that's enough of that.
I wonder what her natural color is.
I don't know.
Brunette or
Well,
blonde?
She
her
looks good as a blonde.
her profile has her as a blonde on IMDb, so
Okay.
I'm gonna assume she's a blonde. So, but she pulled off the brunette wig pretty hot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought too. So, okay.
We digress.
Enough fawning over her. But Ruth, if you're listening, no, I'm kidding.
Come to the show.
But yeah, here's our trio and here's our couple. It's again. So and here they are, and it's kind of like a little bit like natural born killers. They seem to get off on killing people. And they're from Ohio, I believe, because there was a reference when something might be up with Kyle, because when Kyle was like needed a break because he was resting or something like that, Daisy covered for him by saying,
He's adjusting to the time
Time
yeah,
zone.
he's like,
Time
it's the
zone.
same time.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same time zone.
Yeah.
And it was so weird because I just thought he was drunk. He had like 6 beers in front of him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It probably, well, who knows? Like I said, I think she might have been covering for him, or maybe that's a line that we get to see later on, but I can't think of why.
I think all of our killers, a lot of the killers are peculiar, but they all have their like weird things. Like we got Andrew, who's a crier.
Yeah.
And then we got them two who take people's identities, and maybe Kyle also has this thing where it's like, whoa, I'm in a different time zone. I need to adjust.
Whoa. That was a little Spicoli of you there. Whoa. Anyway, so those are our 3 new characters, and as we find out, they are working mostly for Mark.
Dun, 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 dun.
So
Man, he plays Psycho so well.
So Sam Underwood is back
Yeah.
as I would say we joked that we were wondering if he gets paid twice last season for
'Cause he
playing
played
both
both,
characters.
yeah.
This season he only gets to play one character, but he gets to do it with both psyches in there.
Yeah.
So that's pretty creepy. That's pretty eerie.
When he like made the dinner and we see him looking at the mirror
Yeah.
at the table, I was like, whoa, that is so creepy.
Yeah, I actually half thought that he would have his brother's corpse like taxidermied across from
Oh,
him.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, actually, setting up dinner and doing all the stuff with dead people, that was his brother. That was Luke's thing.
That was his
Yeah.
MO.
So I thought that was really interesting that he adapted that. He was making this big dinner, going out of his way, cooking this really elaborate dinner, brought it over, and we didn't see who he was talking to. And then all of a sudden we see a torso, maybe not real, maybe just a mannequin. I don't know, but considering he's a killer, it's probably a real person. Maybe that is the taxidermy
Maybe.
with a mirror, and we get to
was
see him looking at Luke, technically, which is himself. Really interesting. And Mark looks very different too. It looks like he's adapted more of Luke's physical style. Because
Yeah.
Luke was
Yeah.
the one that had his hair all drawn back and looked more preppy.
But he didn't have it at first when we saw him. When we saw him cooking, he had his hair kind of like forward a little bit and
Oh, he did?
dry,
True,
like
and
almost
then-
like spiky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then later on, when they went out for the 3rd tableau,
Yeah.
then he had his hair combed back,
Oh, okay.
slicked back, like
Well,
like Luke.
Regardless, I mean, Mark's hair from season 2 was all like more shaggy dog.
Yeah.
So he has definitely cleaned himself up. He looks a lot different and
It's lighter too. It's like blonde now,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
It looks like he's been working out too.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yes.
really been
Yeah.
setting up for this whole thing. I'm just gonna do some more push-ups on the corner or sit-ups or whatever.
I actually feel I forgot last season that Luke was the one who died. So when I saw them, he was just going back and forth so much. I was like, okay, he's doing both of them, but which one was he again? And then I got reminded this episode.
Well, Luke was the one in that one episode in season 2 who just would not go down. They shot him like a million times.
Oh
They did
my
a million
gosh,
things to
I
him,
know.
and he didn't die. So who knows? I wouldn't have been half surprised if Luke was still alive somehow, if somehow they actually rescued him. But Mark is back, and he's really weird and
yin yang. That's what he is. He is embodying that.
He's embodying both, and whatever it is, like. I mean, look, Mark was dangerous. Luke seemed to be the more dangerous out of the two last season, but Mark is dangerous. But apparently, whatever's going on with Mark and those other three, like they're afraid of doing anything wrong because they're afraid that Mark will kill them.
Oh, I'm sure he just has like a snapping point where nobody knows what he's, gonna do.
So for whatever reason, I mean, we pretty much know because his mom and his mom and his brother, his whole family is pretty much dead.
Yeah.
He is probably more dangerous than he has been, and he has these followers who seem more scared of him. Maybe not Andrew as much, but at least the other two more scared of him than in awe of him. Not like Joe Carroll, who's been able to like very seductively, implore people to join his side.
He doesn't have the charisma that
He
Joe
does
does.
not have the charisma.
He definitely looks good, but he doesn't have the charisma. Absolutely
He
not.
doesn't look good.
You don't think Mark looks that good?
No.
Okay.
It's too creepy.
We
I
will
can't
learn-
get past like you think what's her name? Daisy.
Daisy.
She's
I like even the way you said it. It's like Daisy.
No, but like I can't get past the creepiness of it to even see him as cute. Do you know what I mean? Like
So then you probably like Kyle a lot more.
yeah.
Because Kyle's not creepy.
He's the eye candy.
Yeah, exactly.
But once Kyle starts getting creepy,
But once he starts getting creepy, I'll
you're
probably
like, no.
He only gets off on killing people.
I think because guys like crazy women sometimes. I think some of us end up with crazy women all the time. So
That
it's like, oh,
makes
she's
sense.
crazy. I like her. She's crazy and she's hot. So there we go. That was our joke about Emma as well. So yeah, I have a type. Apparently. Don't shake your head at me, Alexis, our
Crazy
producer.
girls.
She's shaking her head. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about this whole master plan of theirs so far. So they're setting up these tableaus. And we saw in the hotel with the maid all locked up and probably dead. They didn't really show the maid at the end, but she was probably
They
killed
found
too.
her body.
They said
They found her body?
They said she was dead.
Okay, they said they said they found her body. And then we see the couple, Natalie and Kenny, in a tableau with Ryan Hardy lies splattered in blood. Now, this is the second time that that Ryan has heard himself being called a liar. Heard the word liar. The first time was Andrew at the wedding, and then we also found out that that Andrew was not the father of the girl from the Corbin Pound. Once Ryan did some digging, so Ryan knows something's up. I mean, first of all, this hits Ryan in two ways, I think. Stop me if you want to correct me on this, but it hits him. I mean, first of all, when Andrew threw the blood on him, he was pretty much blaming the death of his daughter to Ryan, which is a very similar tactic they've been using the past 2 seasons, making Ryan feel guilty that every single death that happens is his fault.
It's his fault. Yeah.
So,
I'm with you on that.
You with me on that. So the fact that he's a liar, though, shows. Actually, there was a third flashback in the show. I forgot. It was a really quick flashback, just showing them in front of the
Congressional hearing.
some congressional hearing, talking about his tactics and how many people he killed, and
They were employing vigilantism.
yeah. So obviously, Mark seems to be calling Ryan a liar. I partly because of the fact that Lily was executed,
Right.
but he's really hitting on that.
And it also triggers something in Ryan that like he doesn't know who these people that he killed, like he doesn't know who they were, and he kind of feels like I should know what these people were about. I don't even know the names of the people I've been killing.
Yeah.
And so that really hits him hard too. Like he's just like a cold-blooded man killing all these people.
He's no worse than Joe Carroll.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Like, that's
yeah.
He's just got a badge.
Yeah. Well, that was a big thing from the season finale when the twins had Joe and Ryan come over to their little trap, at dinner, they were really laying it on thick, and Joe too, that Ryan is just like Joe, and Ryan is all out for revenge too, ever since he killed the man who killed his father, and that, you know, that he's just as guilty as the rest of us, and he's looking for some kind of redemption. That was a big line. He was looking for redemption, and Ryan he was just saying how he can never find it. There is no God. He can never, you know, there's always something nagging at him. So obviously, Mark remembers this, and I think he's using that also to talk about the lies that Ryan's been living with, that he really is just as bad as Joe Carroll. He's not as innocent.
And that's the worst thing you could say to Ryan. Like, he does not want to be compared to Joe.
He doesn't want to be compared to Joe, and he doesn't want to feel guilty about everyone else dying. But, you know, here are these two characters that are kind of dead because of Ryan, too, in that first, three with the maid, because of the first tableau.
Right, and isn't, like, his whole family, too, died, right? Doesn't Ryan have a crazy backstory with his family? How death just follows him. Like, people close to him all die. So
that's exactly where it comes from, too.
Joe Carroll was playing off of that a lot for 2 seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. So that plays off of him, too. And that's why even at the season finale, when they were at dinner and the twins were dishing out punishment to Joe and Ryan, they were going to chop Joe up into little itty-bitty pieces, but they were going to keep Ryan alive and kill all the people around him as punishment. Kill Max and Claire, Max, Claire, and Mike, and keep Ryan alive. That was their way of punishing Ryan, to keep him with that guilt. But anyway, so the first tableau we saw was, and we found out was also from season 2, when Ryan killed Giselle, which was Luke and Mark's adopted sister from the Gray family.
Right.
So they end up finding out information on Andrew. They ended up getting his ID and everything.
And it's to a fake address.
To a fake address, which leads into the second tableau with all those weird photos of Andrew crying.
He was wallpapered up the staircase.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I thought that was overkill a little bit. Like, I get it. He cries a lot. You know, he cries at the support meeting. He cried at the wedding. He cried when he got caught and Ryan told him to shut up. And he was like, okay, I won't cry. But
yeah, I didn't really get why they put that there. Yeah, it was kind of...
No, it was a signal to the FBI. You're in the right place.
Yeah.
You recognize his face. You're here.
So, yeah, I guess in other words, they wanted... This is what's weird. I guess they wanted Andrew to be identified by the FBI so that they could find the house for the next tableau. Even though that next tableau was set up afterwards, because we saw him grab the, well, maybe that was a flashback too, who knows, but we saw him grab that guy at the support center, and that guy ended up being the body on the floor in the second tableau. So that's interesting.
And we didn't get to see where the other 2 bodies came from.
No, we didn't. But at this point, it's like, we didn't get to see the majority of the bodies from the last tableau either. But the second tableau sets up when Max killed Luke, and on the wall it said, Max Hardy lies. So now Max is in on this too. And in essence, we saw even in the flashback with her and Mike when she said, I covered up an execution for you. So, so Max has lied.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that might be a little bit weird for Max as well, because she just joined the FBI and here she is being called out as a liar by someone who knows that Max was in on this whole thing.
It's all revolving around that congressional hearing, because we see Agent Clark. He's telling his thing to Congress about what happened. Then we see Ryan Hardy say, no, I don't have anything else to add. And then we cut over to Max. She's in the audience of the hearing, and she's just looking really quiet but wide-eyed at the same time, because she knows they're lying.
Yeah.
And they're getting away with it.
No, absolutely. So I think you're right. I think it's going to come back to that congressional hearing, because they did let Ryan get away with it. They pretty much said, even though we felt your actions, your methods were over the top, we are giving you a pass at this. But them covering up an execution or two, that would probably get them in a lot of trouble.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So anyway, we saw the first 2, Ryan figured out the first 2 tableaus. They actually showed little clips from season 2 when Max did shoot Luke. just to coincide with where everyone was positioned. And Ryan, of course, undoubtedly figures out that there's got to be another tableau, and it's going to be Lily Gray. And they end up finding Andrew's face. And I guess this, again, like Andrew wanted to be noticed so that they could find his address, but they didn't think that they would probably use. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too far ahead, but they didn't think that they could find him on a street corner where the FBI is doing surveillance and they're shooting, facial recognition software. I guess
is that a real thing? First of all,
in fictional TV shows, yes,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Why not?
I was like, that is freaky.
It is.
Like, point out where you are. And
Well, CCTV, they got CCTV.
Yeah.
Like all over New York. Like major metropolitan areas. Here in LA, we got that too all over the subway.
I'm sure. I'm
downtown areas.
It's 2015. I'm sure it is freaky if you really think about it in real life. I'm walking down the street and there's a camera that can identify me. Yeah, that's a little freaky.
But it's never failed on this show. I mean, they use that technology a lot.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
It's a way to move forward without like having people do tons of paperwork or do painstaking research to try and figure out where could this person be.
See, they have brilliant Ryan Hardy right there behind the technicians, and he says, "We got to think like them. Where is it going to be? It's got to be like an artsy event."
Well, he's dressed like
right?
he's catered. I think it was around Lincoln Center, I think they said, or something like that. He's dressed like he's working a catered event. How many catered events are there in New York? Like 50, but they end up figuring out which one it is. It was
within
enough.
5 blocks.
Within 5 blocks, so they figured it out.
Thank you, GPS and geographic information systems.
So we see Mark/Luke dressed up kind of like the guy from Inside the Actors Studio, like 30 years younger. What is his name? James Lipton. He looked like James Lipton as a 23-year-old or something like that.
He's like, why do you guys get to have all the fun? Like, let's go kill some people.
He sounded like Luke right there.
He sounded like
coming
Luke.
down the stairs.
Absolutely. And so we see him in on this one, trying to hunt down the perfect Lily Gray
And
person.
how much more perfect could it have been? Looked just like her, the red dress, the hair to the side.
What a day to wear a red dress.
I mean,
In a sea of black and white.
yes.
yeah,
What a day to stand out.
yeah. I'm gonna rethink all my red dresses from now. Never again.
Yeah. So anyway, they end up going for the lady in the red dress. We should have played that in the opening song. Lady in Red instead of the song. But incidentally, the song that we played at the opening, what was it? Ben Howard?
The oats.
Oats in the water?
Oats in the Water?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was actually a song used in The Walking Dead last season. So we just wanted to mention that shout out.
And I could totally see it in SOA, Sons of Anarchy also.
Oh, I can see it on so many shows. But anyway, so we see Andrew pour. I mean, come on, man. He pours wine or something on her red dress. Oops.
He loves throwing liquids at people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I guess blood's a liquid too.
Yeah,
I guess so.
it is. It's a liquid.
Yeah, it's a liquid. So anyway, it just sounded funny.
A little bit more viscous than wine.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. And sending her down to a bathroom that no one else goes to.
Yeah.
I would have thought red flag if I'm a woman going down the stairs and there's nobody there. That's creepy. Come on.
I don't go anywhere dark where there's no people. No, thank you.
That was a little
Hey,
creepy.
you want to go downstairs where there's no line and all the lights are off?
It was a little. I mean, someone pours wine on you. Oops, I messed up. By the way, don't use the real bathroom. Go to this other bathroom.
This show has honestly made me so suspicious of people. I mean, I'm already I hate to say that.
If you ever see Pegah on the street and she jumps when she sees you,
I'm
now
so
you
jumpy.
know why.
How many times did I jump during the thing? And I was watching half the show with the notepad Overman.
She literally jumped
yeah.
when Mark appeared behind the girl in the red dress in the bathroom.
I heard that jump. Yes. Yeah, it's fun watching a show with you. You jumped a couple of times. Anyway, so the lady in red gets captured, and we end up seeing the FBI storm this event. And who's still working as a caterer? But Andrew.
Yeah, he's got to finish his shift.
He's got to finish his shift. He's like, everyone else is going off, but he's like, oh man, I got a tabletop over here that needs some wine, and I gotta do this. And
he wanted to cry into the wine.
He wanted to cry into the wine. The appetizers aren't done yet. I don't know. So apparently everyone leaves the party except for the caterer. who's not really a caterer. And Ryan and Mike end up hunting him down. Some big fight between Ryan and
How many times does
Andrew.
Ryan Hardy have to get cut or maimed in some way? Practically, he's always getting hurt all the time. He got cut on his forearm.
Yeah. Well, you notice a lot of times during the episode he's like walking gingerly and he's nursing himself, and you can just tell he's just like taking off his. I was like, oh, he's like trying to take off the sleeves of his shirt, and he's just like having pain. I mean,
Doesn't he have a pacemaker?
Yeah.
he had a pacemaker. Well, he should still have a pacemaker.
I think I saw something.
They
there
used
under his
it.
chest.
I didn't. It wasn't as
It was more visible last season.
It wasn't as visible as season 1. They had a shower scene where you could see this really
yeah.
awkward lump. Season 1, it was used as a device, as a plot device. Like whenever like Ryan Hardy was tired, that you would hear the thumping
Yeah.
of his heart like really
Yeah.
really fast, and it really limited him. But back then he was also an alcoholic. He was out of shape. Then in season 2, we saw at the very beginning, because of everything that happened in season 1, he decided to get in shape and started running a lot. And the pacemaker wasn't really an issue anymore, and it hasn't been. And he hasn't really.
We haven't really seen much of it.
All he's doing is drinking coffee now, and he's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he's not. He's sober. He should still be sober. I mean, they were trying to get him to drink at the season finale at the dinner table when they had him all trapped up. But, I mean, he went for drinks with Weston, but I'm sure he was just drinking club soda or something. So, because there's no plot device on that. But, yeah, he's walking very gingerly. So I feel like it's their way of actually just making him say, like, he's getting older.
Yeah.
He's getting older. He
Yeah.
can't handle this. But anyway, so we see the final tableau. Andrew ends up like cluing him in on, I guess, on where the final tableau is, because that was a weird confession scene.
Yeah.
When they were saying, like how what was the thing? It was.
But that's what he was meant to do. Andrew was meant. See, now I see he stayed there. He stayed behind. He made it super obvious that he was running away from the FBI because he was meant to deliver that message.
Yeah.
Because it was out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a forest or gravelly road. So how else are they going to find that except for this guy who they captured?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I guess he was there for that, and he was there. It was kind of like a Joe Carroll type scene from season 1 with Hardy and him even saying, "Just wait till we have what we have planned next." I can't remember exactly the way he said it, but it was just like really like you don't know what's coming. And of course, we all heard this before, and Ryan's even like, "Yeah, excuse me, but I've heard this before." And the last
Yeah.
guy who did this to me is on death row. So anyway, they showed him the last tableau. It's literally with 3 other people. We don't know who they are, and it actually mimics. Because they had FBI flak jackets on,
So crazy.
and it mimics the three of them with their jackets coming in, and it says, "While you lie, more die." So very creepy and a very big message.
And they don't mean lie down.
And it's not that kind of lying. While you lie,
While you lie,
more die. Although they could lie
It's like,
down.
don't sleep.
Yeah.
People will be dying.
Just stop chasing them.
Stop chasing them. More people will die. They have
Yeah.
to chase them. So don't lie there. Keep going. That's what you're saying. Anyway, so that's pretty much where we leave off. And then, of course, we see that final scene with Mark and Luke saying tomorrow's going to be an awesome day, and because one of them will die tomorrow. So, dun dun dun.
Dun, dun,
There we
dun.
go. Definitely, I don't know if you want to call it a cliffhanger, but definitely, to entice us that next week's going to be a much, much bigger week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, crazy.
excited.
So I believe I got everything there for now, right? Oh, and the whole Gwen thing. Look, she may or may not be a follower. And
I
she,
don't trust her.
Yeah, and she felt like she was being pulled away, but who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go to some predictions. We could talk about all of that in predictions.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Okay, so here's the part where we could start trying to figure out exactly who you think's a follower or who isn't, and what do you think's going to happen, and who do you think we're going to be seeing this season?
Okay. Should I go?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
I think Gwen is a follower. We will find out in like a few more episodes, I think.
That Gwen's a follower. Okay.
Yep. She's just, there's just something about her. I don't know. She's too pushy. I just don't trust it.
Okay, interesting.
And then I don't know if anybody else. Yeah, that's all I have.
I have a couple.
Gwen.
I got a couple of predictions.
Yeah?
And,
Okay.
All right, let's go with followers. I'll say the followers thing first.
Okay.
So I think that Daisy and Kyle are not really followers of Mark. Because they mentioned
said that at the end. I did forget that. Yes.
They said something about, well, we can't tell him what's really going on. He'll find out. Mm-hmm. What is really going on? Are they Joe Carroll's followers? Is Joe Carroll really trying to did he plant them in Mark's following to really get at Ryan Hardy again? I mean, like, that's kind of, it seems a little cliche.
Yeah.
Because, it's like, how many times can Joe Carroll try to kill Ryan Hardy, right?
Or,
but
yes.
He could.
Or maybe they're going to try to kill Mark.
Or they could be trying to kill Mark. I don't know. Now that I can't see why.
I
don't
can't see why either.
There's no motivation.
That's true.
But I also feel like, let's see. Max or Weston, I don't know what I wrote. Anyway, go on. You go next.
I like what you said. I actually think that, the Daisy Kyle line that they said is really important because it shows that they're not just working for Mark. I don't know if they're working for Joe Carroll. Joe Carroll's in prison, but I do think there's another character we haven't seen yet that they might be working for that may or may not be a follower of Carroll's that has other plan. However, I'm gonna throw this at you too. Because of the season finale, they wanted to kill Joe and they wanted to keep Ryan alive, that whatever Mark is planning has something to do with Joe. And we're going to see Joe in some capacity because of what Mark is doing.
I hope so.
And I think we are. I honestly think we are.
He probably wants to get at Joe. Maybe Mark wants to kill Joe.
Mark would probably want to get Joe because Joe turned down his mom. And he probably thinks that if Joe and his mom were together, she might not have died as well. I feel like the twins were blaming Joe just as much as Ryan for Lily Gray's death. So I definitely see that. I see Joe Carroll definitely coming back. I don't know if I see Claire coming back, but I see Joe coming back. It's a question of his how. Because Ryan has not even seen him since last season. He said it in the episode. It's past that. Doesn't want to see him anymore.
Yeah.
I looked up on IMDb and we don't have James Purefoy credited for anything beyond the first episode. But maybe they could add him later.
Yeah, you know who puts stuff in IMDb? The network does, and I think they get wise to people going on IMDb and seeing these things. So I wouldn't necessarily use that as a barrier as to who is and who isn't. They could put that on whenever.
Yeah.
So anyway, that pretty much wraps it up for this season premiere of The Following. Thank you so much for finally tuning in with us. We're going to be here usually on Tuesday. I think Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Pacific. That's going to be our time. Pegah and Sean, where can we find you guys during the week if we want to talk to you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Pegah Rad. I also host the Forever After Show, Better Call Saul After Show, House of Cards After Show. So find me on those.
Wow.
Ooh, those are good shows.
Yeah.
Well, I just do this show. You can follow me at Sean Austin O. That's SeanAustino on Instagram and Twitter.
You just do this show for now, but we know you'll do some more. You've done some more before. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nandovel, Nandovel. You can also find me here on AfterBuzz on a bunch of shows, including The Walking Dead, Blacklist, where if you miss Joe and Julia, we're on Blacklist together. Me, Joe, and Joe are doing Bates Motel. I also do Scorpion, and I just started doing Survivor, and a lot of stuff. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tune in next week, and we'll catch you then. Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.